Hello my crafty friends. Today I'm going to be making this butterfly card with lots of twine for texture on it and the background. And let me show what I used to make the card and you can follow along. I'm going to be using, for this die cut back here, I used the Wood Textures designer paper. I've also used the painted texture embossing folder for the front of the card, and then I've topped that with this die from the Florentine die, and this cardstock is kind of vanilla colored. I'm using this Stippled Butterfly stamp, and I stamped that in Versamark and heat set it with white embossing powder. I'm going to be adding some of these elegant faceted pinkish brown jewels to the front of the card, and I'm going to be using this die cut for the wood texture piece, and this is from the Apocadary Accents. It's a retired set. And these are various pieces of ribbon and twine from some different Stampin' Up! Rolls. Okay, and once again I started this video and then I couldn't find my cinnamon cider ink pad. We'll also be using the Blushing Bride. But I couldn't find them, so I had to stop the video and go find cinnamon cider. So I found that now. I'm back. I'm starting, but what I'm unable to show you again is that I did emboss the front of the card with the painted texture embossing folder, and then I topped it with that other die cut to give it lots of texture. Okay, so I just glued it around the edges and then added a few dots of glue here and there, and then put it down on the front of the card. So that part's been done. So I'll set that aside and I'll show you how I colored the butterfly. Okay, I'll leave this here for reference. I'm using a number 10 rounded edge brush and my ink pads, if I can get enough ink on them. Otherwise I'll get the re-inkers out and we'll use those. So I'm going to start with this is really relaxed coloring, so very simple. Just get some water on your brush. You can use a water brush if you have one. I just happen to like this paintbrush for this particular technique. And you're just going to go over parts of the butterfly. There's no real rhyme or reason or anything. So go over the little tentacles at the top because I'll be cutting those out. I want to give a little bit of color to the background. Okay, and then when you're done with that, let me get a watercolor rag here. Wipe off my pink off my brush. Okay, so we're done with the pink, and then we're going to go with the cinnamon cider, which is a little darker, but it's not a real dark brown. So we're going to go over the spots that we didn't color with the pink. So it's kind of a variegated color. Maybe we'll add a little darker bits here and there just by going in with a little bit more ink and applying it. Okay, so just kind of want to make sure that you've got ink somewhere all over your butterfly. I might even add a little bit more of the pink since it's kind of turned out kind of light. So let me get some more of that on here. Make it a little darker by having less water on my brush. Okay. Add even a little bit more of the brown. This is all personal preference, however you want to do it. Okay, so I think that's good. Now, by the way, the paper that I'm using here is the shimmery white cardstock. And you don't want to brush back and forth too much. It doesn't pill like other papers, but it will eventually. So try not to do too much of that rubbing on it. Okay, so again, that was Cinnamon Cider and Blushing Bride. All right, it doesn't look like much right now. I should let it dry, but I'm going to go ahead and take my snips and I'm going to fussy cut it out, okay? And I know this is like watching paint dry, but now normally I would leave an edge around whatever I'm cutting out and not be so fussy. But for this particular butterfly, I'm going to go right up to the edge of the white emboss and continue to cut it out. You can leave a little bit. What I do want is I do want to leave the antennae on there. I don't want to cut those off because I like the look of them, so I'm just going to barely come up the side on this side. There I have that one. We'll see if I can cut this one without cutting it off. There we go. The antennae are very delicate, just like a butterfly. Okay, so then continue on to cut out the butterfly. This is the most time-consuming part of the whole project, actually. But it pays off in the end because this butterfly is just gorgeous. So if you're going to reproduce this card and you don't have this butterfly, there are some other beautiful butterflies in the Stampin' Up! Collections. And they actually have a new set that is coming out in the 21-22 annual catalog next month. So if you missed the flyer that was sent out on the new butterfly set, which you could have purchased early, it will be in the catalog. Okay, so there you have it. So there's my butterfly, and it's all done. So now I'll show you how I layered the card. So we have our card front here, and I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but you can use any sentiment you want, you can put on here, or you can just leave it to put your sentiment on the inside, however you want to do it. But for these purposes, I liked it just the way it was. Okay, so first we're going to adhere our brown piece, not to the center of the card or to the right. We're going to do it more towards the left of the card so that we can angle the butterfly on top of it. So let me add some glue to this. Okay, not very not very fancy, is it? Okay, so this about touches the bottom and the top, so you can kind of see that it's straight up and down there. Okay, so there's that piece. Then I'm going to take these pieces of twine. I have a Blushing Bride. I have kind of a beige with a gold tinseled trim inside, and kind of a light brown color, a crumb cake, I guess, color of twine. And I'm just going to fold those in half and lay them over the top here, like that for now. And I'm going to probably put a glue dot down to hold those down. I want one a little bit bigger than the small ones that we have, so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to put it down right about there. And peel it off. And now I'll put my position my twine approximately where I want it. Which is going to be off to the side a little bit. About like that. And that'll hold the twine in place, and then you can pull the fibers apart, or the different pieces of twine, however you want them. Okay, and then this little piece, I'm just going to fold it in half, and again I'm going to use glue dots. Let me find my roll here. I've got my roll of glue dots, and I'm going to take my piercing tool, and I'm going to put one on the back here so that I can take this and press it down a little bit at an angle onto the other side. And then I'm going to put one on the back. This is what I consider to be the back. Put one back there, and I'll put this, well, I'm going to say right about here, just over that center part. And then I'm going to put another glue dot on top of it because the butterfly needs something to stick to. So let me see. I don't think I used dimensionals on this butterfly, but I did. Ah, imagine that. So the center of the butterfly, I would just put another one of these right there on the butterfly, and then the rest I would do with dimensionals. You find a package of dimensionals here, and put some on the leaves. Leaves. Listen to me, it's getting to be late. On the wings of the butterfly. So maybe I'll reinforce it with a couple more. We'll put one here, and we'll put another one here. That way we know that it'll be good and sticky and stick on there. Okay, so this may not stick down, but I think because of the height of the ribbon that it should stick there, because these dimensionals will be around the edges to hold it up. So I'm going to position my butterfly at an angle right about here. Okay, so there's the butterfly. And if your twine pieces go beyond the card, I would just trim it off a little bit. You don't want them bunching up when you put your card in the envelope. Okay, so there is the front of the card, and then we would finish it off with embellishing it with a few of these gems from the Elegant Faceted Gems pack. Let's see, I'm going to want a larger one, so let's see if I can take these out of here. Okay, so taking the pick tool again, I'm going to take one of the larger ones, place it here, and then one of these smaller ones, and place it here, and then another smaller one up here, probably right about there. Okay, so very simple card with a lot of impact for the coloring. It is just lovely, lovely card. All right, thank you very much for watching the video.